Hey Patrick,
Hey Mark, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. I'm pretty pumped for this episode. A lot of things to discuss. How was your last week?
Yeah, it flew by last week, really.
Yeah.
Um, I think the highlights of my week were probably that I got my boss into youth farming. So
Mhm.
for some reason, I'm just really
Hi,
excited
boss.
by that. Yeah, so he's a a modern boss now.
Yeah.
And another thing that happened this week is that I have this little spreadsheet that I upload every day to my Twitter, and I added some kind of table to it with the highest
Mm.
pairs for certain popular pairs. So that was pretty cool. And another highlight was that there was a trailer for Illuvium, which is a game that I'm really
Mm.
looking forward to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like 2 weeks ago instead of 1 week, but yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And how was your
Yeah.
week?
Oh man, it was quite busy, and it still is busy. So today, when we recorded this Friday morning, so we had the whole week strategy week at our business, and yeah, too little time for crypto, I guess. But yeah, like you just said, weeks are just flying by. But I'm pretty pumped for what's going on in crypto right now, and there is so much stuff going on. So yeah, a little bit of crypto, a little bit of fitness, a little bit of business. So this was quite interesting.
Cool. Sounds like a cool balance.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Okay. Do you have any challenges, any changes in your personal allocation, or is it just like last week? You're way overexposed to Illuvium, and and nothing changed.
Um, well, there have been some changes to compared to
Mm.
last week. Um, like I'm not sure if you recall, but I had some position in Phantom and also some position in Ice. I think roughly it
Mm.
was about 15% of my portfolio from what I recall. And
Phantom and Ice combined.
yeah, Phantom, I think it was 15. Maybe it was. Do you think it's more?
I'm not sure, but that's impressive.
So
I thought about less.
no, I think it was something like this. And I decided to shift from Phantom to Solana
Mm.
um, because I'm also working on the spreadsheet, and I think it would just be good for me to focus on one platform. Even though I think Phantom will perform better in the like next half year, for instance, than Solana,
Mm.
since Solana has already gone up so many times.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I just did it more for educational purposes and focus purposes. And
Mm.
also, I decided to sell my ice, my popsicle finance.
A
And
whole chunk, right?
yeah, I did it in two parts. So I first sold half roughly, and then I sold another half. Um, it had already gone. My allocation to ice had already gone down a lot due to impermanent loss. So I just took a look at my spreadsheet and my number of ice tokens because I had an LP pair of ice and phantom together.
Mm.
And phantom, I think it dropped by 5%, and ice went up by I think 180% or something in a week.
That was so
It was
freaking
a huge
crazy.
amount, a huge amount.
So crazy.
And so this is one thing that I definitely need to pay more attention to, and that is impermanent loss when you have a 180%
Yeah.
increase.
Wow.
My number of ice tokens dropped by 40% in the
Ah.
pair. So it was already a lot less than before, naturally. So yeah, beware with super volatile tokens of
Mhm.
impermanent loss. But yeah, the main reason why I sold most of my or well all of my ice is that I noticed that I've been really busy lately and I haven't been able to keep up with the things happening to ice. And
Mm.
I don't really like to own a reasonably significant part of a portfolio with something that I can't keep up with.
Mm.
So for me, just having the Discord or not, I mean, like the Twitter notifications of when something is coming out, that's not enough level of detail that I want to be on with the project. I want to really listen to every interview and check at least every post from the developers, etc. So this is one of the major reasons why I sold Ice. And another reason is that the website was launched, I think this weekend as well. And
Mm.
I was still a little bit disappointed with the website. I think
Why?
um, first of all, I think the UX of the website doesn't match the aspirations of the protocol. I think the UX is still not that great, and they spent like 3 months refining it. So if this is what they got to after refining for 3 months, and I'm not an expert in UX, but as a user of crypto, I could give like 5 improvements within 10 minutes of
Mm.
using it. So I thought that was a pretty bad signal.
Maybe you should do this. Just write them via Discord.
Yeah, I did wrote them a couple of things,
Mm.
but
Nice.
yeah, I just got like the rage smileys as a comment. So I think people were not happy when I
Mm.
criticized
Yeah,
the
that's
website.
interesting.
But I do. You also have eyes, right?
Yeah, I have it and quite a large bag, but I don't want to interrupt you. Or do you want to have my reasoning for holding it right now?
No, no. I actually want to say that. So I um, I sold most of it, and what I did is I bought some Solana with it, and also some even more Illuvium ETH pair.
No,
But
man.
yeah, but
I
but
hope
I just
so
want to
much
say,
that it works out.
I just want to say something about the ice part, and that's that
Mm,
I'm not bearish ice whatsoever. Like I
mm,
think it's gonna probably outperform Illuvium even in the short term, and also maybe even the medium term.
mm,
I just think the risk reward for Illuvium is, it is a lot better risk reward than ice. I think for ice, I think more things can go wrong, but I think ice can even be a top 50 protocol in a couple of years. Like I really have high expectations for it because I think Danielle is really world class, but I don't think the whole team of ice is world class, and that is the difference between in my view, ice and Illuvium. That Illuvium consists of a team of which almost all members are like at the top of their industry. Whereas Ice, it's more like Daniela and his friends basically, and some of the friends are really good, of course, but not the whole team in my view. So there's something that is a little bit unpolished yet. But I think Ice will become like Revolut, if you know that fintech bank. I think
mm.
they could be
Yes,
something like this of crypto longer term. So I'm definitely not bearish on it.
super interesting. Um, if you were able to catch up with more of what's going on there, would you buy back in, or are there other reasons, just like a bad UI and stuff like this, too too much too important?
Um, Yeah, for me, like what I one of my concerns about Popsicle, but in general, like Daniela's protocols, is that I think they all share the same UX designer. I think it's Georgie or something, Georgie, and I think he's also a friend of Daniela. So I'm not sure. Like, and this is just speculation on my side, but
Mm,
I don't know if there's a willingness to switch UI developers later on in the life cycle to make the UI a lot better, for instance.
mm,
And it's not just the UI, but just there's just some things that are a little bit unpolished. The communication is sometimes a little bit unpolished with promising too many things, and there's some other things, but basically there's some little smudge marks on the painting, but for the rest, it's a beautiful painting that's going to be worth a lot, basically.
yeah, that's super interesting. So I remember the evening where I asked you, "Hey, Popsicles Live, what do you do?" And you said, "I sold it basically," and I was just like, a little bit dumbfounded because I'm super bullish
Yeah.
and I listened to a lot of episodes and I basically read and listened to everything I could from Danielle and Squirrel
Hmm,
and
hmm.
and those people, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, this makes total sense." And then the price tanks from $65 to about 30, and I'm sitting there and thinking, okay, what does Mark know that I don't know? But it's super interesting. I think you honestly have a really good knack for this to to take profits. I know this is this makes the sound cliche or so, but you're really good at taking profits, I guess, because the other protocol you mentioned to me a couple of months ago,
Hmm.
which is called Tarot, which is basically yeah, also a lending and borrowing protocol with a leverage yield farming on Phantom. There was an evening where I asked you the same question, like, what to do with the Tarot? And you said, I sold it. And I was like, damn, what's going on? And Tarot was at like $2.20, and now it's at 70 cents. So I don't know how you do this. So you bring up quite a good of points, but I think we all could learn a lot from this of taking profits. And even though you switch to Solana and you might be down in US dollar value, I have
Hmm.
no idea, but at least you haven't lost 50% of it because ICE fell by about
Yeah.
50% and Solana by maybe five. Do you have any idea?
10%, I think roughly.
10%, yeah. So
But,
yeah,
but yeah, to be honest, I did not expect it to go to 30 from like 60 or
yeah,
something, or so that was just a lucky move, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty interesting that it dropped so much after I exited. But
yeah. And
I'm
I
not
was the
sure if this is a
same.
pattern. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I
Are
think
you
it's
a
no
whale?
coincidence. No, I think
Just
it's a
like dumping every
coincidence.
day 2%. Jump, jump. Yeah, okay, awesome. Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah, and
We need. Sorry,
sorry.
go ahead, please.
Yeah, and another reason why I sold it actually because this was not an easy decision for me. I was pondering it for the whole weekend, like several hours of taking walks and stuff. And there was a new developer interview on Illuvium, like a 3 hour interview with one of the developers that hadn't been heard before. Like he recently unveiled himself, and there were some things in that got me even even more bullish. So
Man.
I wanted to allocate more, more to Illuvium, and I
Mm.
didn't have I don't have anything extra to really put into it, so I have to liquidate some of my other positions. So
So it's basically driven by FOMO.
it's different by combination of factors, not just the high
Yeah, I
score, but
agree.
also the bullishness on Illuvium.
That's super interesting. The Illuvium thing, you need to get us all around
Yeah,
somehow
I
there.
don't want to talk too much about it, but because I don't want this to become an Illuvium show. But yeah, I'm just very bullish on it.
Yeah, but I think there's great value in there, and I think we should do an episode about the NFT and metaverse stuff within the next couple of weeks
Hmm.
because I'm thinking a lot about how to get mass adoption, and yeah, I have some pretty um, I have a huge list of thoughts which I would like to share and talk about you.
Yeah, like, did you hear about the 100 million Solana fund for play to earn?
Yeah, that's super interesting, right? 50 million
Yeah,
from who is it? From the Reddit guy and 50 million from Solana also, right?
yeah, I think something like this.
I'm pretty interested in this. Hopefully they can yeah somehow get traction within the social media slash gaming space.
Hmm. And
Um,
did
sorry,
you
go ahead, please.
sell anything, by the way? Did you change anything to your allocation?
Yeah, I thought about this and I basically did one thing and I was kind of forced, I guess, but it's a nice force. So there was this Ethereum name services airdrop, ENS airdrop. You heard about it,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So this is basically for the listeners. This is basically a service where you can register your name. For example, let's say I like cookies.eth or I hate cookies.eth. It's kind of a domain, and it's part of my airdrop hunting slash I like it strategy, I guess, because I did this way back in May or so, and I registered a .ether name, and a couple of days back there was this airdrop which got released at the 8th of November, and there it was basically calculated on how long you hold the .eth domain and how long you register into the future, and it was quite a nice airdrop for me. So this was something that changed my allocation a little bit. It's not a huge part, but it changed a little bit. And then I was just sitting there doing my research, thinking about it. I also got a DYDX airdrop, by the way, so I learned something out of it. And I was just sitting there and reflecting on it. Okay, what do I do with this ENS token? And by DYDX, just to give you a quick
Hmm.
rundown what happened, the DYDX token got released, super pumpy. Everyone thought it would get released at let's say, what was it, between $5 or $10 per token. Then it got released about 20, shot up to the moon, and I was like, man, that's so awesome. I will just hold to it, and it will become a top 25 protocol, and I will be super rich
Hmm.
and stuff like this. And yeah, from then on, I started it tanking, and I was doing some research. Why does it tank, and how did other protocols uh, perform after the first month after the launch? I was looking at I was taking a look at the tokenomics of DYDX, on the issuance schedule, on the marketing, on the product, and what could be next catalyst. And I basically found nothing. I found really nothing. there was some votings that failed, and there's no CO that pushed it really hard. So I was thinking about, okay, could this fit within the DeFi 1.0 sector, like Curve and Maker and stuff like this, who are gaining more and more traction, but the prices are dumping because the issuance is too high and there's no hype behind it. And I was just riding out the DYDX wave to a point
Mhm.
where I felt kind of sick because it drained on my on my energy through the whole day because you're thinking and sitting there on your large DYDX bag, thinking, should I sell it? Should I hodl it? Maybe there is a pump, maybe there is a listing, stuff like this. And the long story short is basically I should have sold it more early. So this time on ENS, this is maybe the learning you and all everyone is listening to it can get out of it. If you do your due diligence on a token or a coin, and you don't have really high conviction on the coin, and you just hold it because other people say it's awesome, and you don't see any catalysts like upcoming launches or a CEO who pushes this really hard, sell it a little bit, at least a little bit, because otherwise it could dump and dump and dump, and you feel really sick. So what I did, I sold a little bit at about $45 per coin. And obviously it shot up to 75 within 6 hours. And I was just like, yeah, nice. But now it tanked again, so I do feel good. And the story out of it is that I sold a little bit of my ENS, put it into Ethereum, because I also did it through a MetaMask transaction on the mainnet, which cost me honestly about $500
Damn.
for for a just a quick approve and a quick transaction. Then, but that's okay because one day Mask might release a token and then I will
Mhm.
be happy. But for now, it's just a gamble. So this is something I changed. So I got add up the ENS token. I sold a little bit of it. I hold on to a little bit, and yeah, it's got transferred into ETH.
And how much did you pay in gas to claim the ENS airdrop?
Good point. I forgot it. It was like $130.
Okay, I heard horror stories of even like way more gas to claim it.
Yeah,
So that was all right, I guess, even though
yeah.
it's still expensive.
The claiming process was kind of weird. So luckily, when it got released, I slept, but because they had some kind of bug in their communication with MetaMask, where the gas limit was set to slim. So transactions were failing and failing and failing and failing. And
Wow.
obviously, when the network is running hot because everyone is trying to make a transaction and the token got just released, and I think it came out with about two times the price that everyone was expecting. Everyone was like, "Damn! Now I need to claim it. Now I need to sell it. It's pumping like hell." And yeah, so the whole network got congested. People were FOMOing and selling, and yeah, so I was a little bit more patient. I put in a low in quotes gas price of
Okay.
I think 125 gwei, so it cost me like $130. But yeah, this was pretty interesting, I guess. Take your
Hmm.
profits, and so this was at least my learning. Whenever you have a coin where you don't have high conviction on, I will just sell it because it takes so much mental capacity, so much mental time. It's just a real burden on your life, a real burden.
Yeah, and just for my knowledge, when you get an ENS domain, you basically you rent it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you rent it per year or like how does it work?
Yeah, that's one part where I wish I could go back and rent it for 400 years. So honestly, so you rent it for a year, and the year costs about 0.005 ETH, roughly.
Hmm.
And the longer you rent it, the more tokens you have gotten. So there was this multiplier. The equation was basically 0.06 times the days you already have it, plus 0.2 whatever times the days you registered into the future. So there is this
Okay.
guy who registers his domain for the next 250 years. Honestly. And he got millions out of this airdrop.
Really?
It's a super weird story. Who registers a domain over 200 years in the future?
That's
And I
someone
was
who's really
just,
bullish, ETH and
oh,
cryogenesis,
he
maybe.
knows something, right?
Yeah, or that, or that.
Yeah, but it was super interesting. I was just sitting there again, pretty dumbfounded. I was just like, what the fuck? Yeah, yeah. One day we will gonna make it, Mark. One day we will have our lucky shot. I also heard about a guy who sold ENS domains. He bought and
Mhm.
sold about 8,000, and he's now a multi-millionaire because it gets all linked back to his old wallet. So yeah,
Wow.
crypto, right?
Yeah, crypto.
You never know what could
No, you
happen.
never
One day
know.
you will wake up and you're richy, rich.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, dokie, dokie. Do you have anything to add, or do you want to continue and talk about remarkable things that happened since last Friday?
No, let's continue.
Okay, dokie. Do you want to start?
No, you can start.
Okay, dokie. So what happened remarkable since last Friday? So obviously the ENS airdrop was one thing,
Hmm.
um, which we already talked about in quite a lot of detail, I guess. Then yeah, the Solana Breakpoint actually, the conference, which was in Lisbon, it happened, and I managed to listen to the YouTube videos, which are around 8 hours, 9 hours, and so, and listen to the whole conference, which was quite remarkable because those conferences come up quite what's it called, quite rarely,
Hmm.
and this was quite interesting. So I can recommend that someone who is interested in the Solana ecosystem go over to YouTube and type in Solana, and then you will find the channel. And then don't listen to the whole thing. Don't listen to the 8 hours and 9 hours. Just listen to the ones that they picked out. There is some kind of interesting stuff in there. And I would like to highlight two things which are particularly interesting. That maybe Mark, you should listen to it as well if
Yeah.
you already haven't. So the one thing is there is this guy. His company is called damn, I'm blanking on the name right now. But they are doing
Oh
rendering
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. It was a render
objects.
token or something, right?
Render, exactly, yeah. So it's super interesting what they're doing. So this was basically a presentation, 20 minutes, where they gave some glimpse into how the metaverse could look like if you take it serious and not just, okay, put on your goggles and there's everything in 16 pixels. It looks really awesome. They built up the Star Trek spaceship. You can walk through it. Really, really nice. So I think this was the first time in my life where I played World of Warcraft a lot, like 10 years of my life. And when you play a game 10 years of your life, you don't see the character from third person. You're basically the character and you move through the world. You live it, you feel it basically. And when I saw this video, I felt like moving through the starship or the Star Trek Enterprise ship. It was really interesting. So I
Wow.
think this could be getting traction within the next 6 to 12 months. I thought this would take more time, but I think within the next 6 to 12 months there could be something happening. And the next topic, I think, which is pretty interesting, which you could take a look at, but I thought you already have. There's this guy or girl, I'm not quite sure. I listened to it and it was kind of a male female voice, and he's from Neon. And Neon is a company who tries to basically get developers over from Ethereum to Solana. And it's something along the lines of EVM compatibility. So EVM is the Ethereum virtual machine where basically the whole in quotes Ethereum network runs on. And they launched pretty hefty fund, and they got also hefty funded, where they tried to make the transition from uh, EVM over to Solana to get more developers over there. So I see this as kind of a vampire attack on devs from Solana to Ethereum.
The other
And
way around.
yeah,
From Ethereum to
from
Solana.
yeah, sorry, that's what I mean. Sorry. So I think it's pretty interesting because Solana is pushing really hard on devs, come to us, come to us, come to us. Have you ever seen the video of what's his name? He's a billionaire and he's the successor of Bill Gates. The what's his name? Steve Baldwin also for Microsoft.
Steve Ballmer, you mean?
Steve Ballwin, exactly.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you
do,
mean.
do you know the conference where he jumps up and down
Yeah, yeah,
on the stage?
yeah.
Developers, developers,
Yeah,
developers, 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 developers. And it felt the same. Solana's doing the same. And I think it could play out really interesting. So I recommend that people take a look at this video as well and start developing their own thoughts about it.
yeah. It's pretty interesting because The conference was a lot about developers for sure, but when you hear, for instance, the comments from I think Ceteris Paribus on Twitter, like he said that he went there and it felt like a very VC money man kind of atmosphere to
Mm,
it, you know. So it's interesting that they communicate all about developers, but somehow the atmosphere doesn't seem to be that developer
mm,
oriented, or at least maybe it's just the parties or something. It's just an anecdote.
mm,
But yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Solana, company really tries to get developers in, and they're doing everything they can. So I think that's
mm,
quite, yeah, I think it's quite quite bullish for Solana.
yeah, I think so, yeah, because they are playing the VC game quite well. Uh, they, they,
Hmm.
they have huge bags because, yeah, price got up like 100x or so. By the way, fun fact, do you know the one crypto asset within the top 100 which was able to outperform Solana within the last 12 months? There is just one.
In the top 100, maybe Spell?
No,
I don't know.
but
Oh,
it's close.
maybe
It's close as well. It's
Time? Nah, I don't know then.
ah, it's Phantom.
Phantom. Oh,
Yeah,
Phantom outperformed Solana this year?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I heard about this in the Uncommon Car episode yesterday,
Oh,
which I highly recommend. By the way, I could go into a big deep topic what I love about this, but I don't think we have the whole time for it.
yeah.
But this was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I'm definitely a bullish Phantom. I think it will outperform Solana for sure. It's just,
Yeah,
an education part that I'm more allocated to Solana right now. But
yeah,
I want to go back to the conference for 1 second.
yeah, sure.
When you mentioned that they're all about developers, what I did recall is that I listened to some of the developer sessions, and they mentioned that they got a lot of support even from Anatoly and Gash, I think, in the beginning of the protocol.
Mm,
They could just ask the questions and he would help them even with like documentation and answering questions for them. And
mm,
one thing the developer said is that they chose Solana over Ethereum because if they run into issues on Ethereum, Vitalik is not going to help them, and
mm,
and here they have like a strong like founder that is really also involved in helping the developers. Of course,
mm.
it is, I guess it's more of an early on thing, and now he's not doing that anymore. But
Yeah, exactly.
it's still interesting when you think about it.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I can just give one thought to this. So I've been in Solana for about a month now, really deeply, and there is not much stuff on Solana actually.
Yeah,
There are just like 10 protocols, and that's it, Mark. So this is so overvalued in quotes, even though I'm a
yeah.
pretty big holder. But there is not much going on there. So I think for now it makes total sense that Anatoly and Raj do their stuff. But if you compare this with Ethereum and all those protocols which are on
Hmm.
there, you you can't even keep pace. And today, when something launches on Solana, it's the highlight of the week basically. So yeah, I think it's an interesting point for sure. But I don't know if they can keep this up that Anatoly and Raj will be able to be the cheerleader of the Solana ecosystem. What do you think?
Uh,
How do they tackle it?
Uh, yeah, I think of course they will have to step aside the more teams and enter Solana, but I also think the documentation and stuff is getting a lot better and the development support is getting better. They have hired people to help developers specifically, so the boss doesn't have to do it, of course, and he can focus on more important things. So
Mm,
I definitely don't expect in the future protocols to be held by Anatoly, but with regards to what you said about the ecosystem, even though I think you're maybe exaggerating it a little bit because there's way more than 10 protocols on there, of course. Like even on DeFi Llama, I think there's probably like 25 or something. But
mm,
I do agree that the Phantom ecosystem right now is it's less developed than, I mean, sorry, the Solana ecosystem is less developed than Phantom. That's why I
mm,
like Phantom a lot more. But I mean, the growth of Solana is pretty tremendous. So, and also,
mm,
the last couple of weeks, there have been a lot of things launching or they're in alpha. I definitely don't think it is, a platform with few protocols anymore. It's like a couple, like maybe 10 or 20 are launching every week, and I can't even keep up with it myself. So I
You
definitely
mean
think
on
it's growing
Solana?
now. Yeah, on Solana, I'm talking about Solana. So the last
Uh,
2 week through two,
Sorry,
3 weeks, it has really spiked a lot in my view.
I can add little bit of nuance. So I think a lot of devnets are launching. Pretty sure because I try to get into every single devnet basically, and I try to use every single mainnet due to the airdrop hunting stuff and learn about it. So I would, from my personal view, maybe I'm
Hmm.
missing something, but I see a lot of devnets launching, but not a lot of mainnets.
Okay.
So there's a lot of testing going on for sure, and yeah, pretty weird stuff happening on there.
Hmm.
Things break within the first transaction and stuff like this. Yeah, so yeah, I do see development, especially after the hackathon, which was a
Hmm.
couple of weeks ago. But mainnet launches are super rare.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the development more is now infrastructure. Like the graph is coming to Solana. Like you have
Mm,
Jump Finance, who is entering it with and is
mm,
doing things like a lot of data related things is happening right now, and not necessarily
mm,
a lot of top DeFi protocols. I agree with
yeah,
that.
yeah. Um, I would like to share one last
Hmm.
thing from last week, and then I would love to hear your thoughts. So, have you listened to the latest Uncommon Core episode with Suzu and Hazu?
No, not yet. I've downloaded it, but I haven't listened to it yet.
Okay, then I won't spoil you, but I will give you at least one
Hmm.
thought out of it, which is super interesting. So, I've been in crypto for about over 4 years by now. So, happy birthday, me. But I noticed one thing, and I think, which is a pretty interesting concept, and I'm pretty sure that it's about 90% correct, but not 100%. So, let's say, for example, someone is holding a really high back of Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin is at let's say 60K right now. And his honest opinion is that the price will go to, let's say, 120K. This is his honest opinion. But what he will tell the whole crypto space out there is, okay, Bitcoin gets to at least a half a million. So he's putting in some buffer in there. And I noticed that quite a lot of times. And I say this particular in regards to Suzu, because he talked about the super cycle. But in this Uncommon Core episode, I listened to it 3 times by now, so 3 times back to back to back. And I think he's at a point where he thinks that Bitcoin will top out within the next couple of weeks and months. He's talking about crypto sins. So there are 7 crypto sins, and if he sees one of them, he gets pretty skeptical. And one of those crypto sins he saw a couple of weeks ago. I think this could mean that you know the concept of reflexivity. Do you know
Hmm.
it?
Yeah.
So yeah, reflexivity is basically when price goes up even more, for example. And he had this small sentence in there, which was basically, okay, if everyone thinks we 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 top at the end of this year, then we top at the end of this year. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I see more and more signs
Hmm.
of this will actually work out because it's like playing chess. If everyone thinks we will top out at the end of this year, it's basically priced in, so we don't top out at the end of this year. But if you go one step further, it would make sense that we top out at the end of this year because no one actually thinks this because everyone thinks it will happen. It's quite complex, but uh, my TLDR is basically I think Suzu is getting bearish, and I think the next time I will hear him talk about Bitcoin will go to 250K and not a million, so he narrows down his price target a little bit more. I will honestly think about selling a little bit. What do you
Okay.
think about this?
Um, wow, it's very interesting. Very interesting what you say. But do you mean that Bitcoin will top out this year at the end of this year, and then next year, in beginning of next year, there will be an altcoin pump? Or do you think like the whole crypto market will top out this year, and then it will go into mini bear market or something? Like what does he mean by that for the whole market?
So, um, actually, Hazu is asking him the question, "What do you think for the next 6 months?" And he answers it, and I'm not quite sure how exactly he answers it, but it's basically something along the lines of I mentioned. So I recommend you listen to the episode.
Hmm.
But if you want to hear my personal opinion, I think that Bitcoin will have its rally till the end of this year, and then it will crash, and then there will be a really short altcoin pump. So let's say not just a month, but maybe 2 weeks or so, and then the institutionals and stuff like this will clear their balance sheet till the end of this year because they want to have a clear profit and loss because they want to say, okay, guys, this was an awesome year, so they want to have an awesome profit and loss. And then they will start reallocating their funds at the beginning of next year. So this will take from maybe from February to March, and from then on, the price will go up again. So my hypothesis is Bitcoin pump till the end of this year, then a small altcoin pump, let's say 2 weeks. Then we have our New Year's Eve, and then the funds will allocate back from January till March, and then we will go back up, but it's more of a slow approach. This is my thesis
Okay.
right now. How do you think about this?
Um, well, what I think is that Bitcoin will go up, but I don't think it will go up to 100K, like I mentioned it before. So I think it will go up maybe to 70 or 80. And yeah, I'm not sure about the altcoin pump. I agree. Like what you said with the institutions, that's also what Raoul Pal said. He said that towards the end of the year, institutions will get back to zero basically. So they
Mm,
start the year, they end the year fresh, and then they start the year, and they start allocating again. So
mm,
this exactly matches what Raoul Pal says.
interesting.
So that's really interesting. Only Raoul Pal is he says that the Bitcoin will go up 3 to 4x until the end of the year. And
Mm.
then towards the end of December, you will have selling because
Till the end of the
institutions.
year. So
Uh,
within the next 6 weeks, he wants to
yes,
see a
yes,
3x.
yes. And also, like
How?
Carter's also said that. Oh no, I don't think I have any quote from the end of the year. Oh yeah, he says it will go to 80K by the end of November. So that's in three
The money
weeks.
with Carter guy on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. So some people are really bullish short term on Bitcoin. So yeah, so for me, I'm not gonna sell my Bitcoin in any way because for me it's insurance, so I don't ever sell it. But I'm actually thinking of allocating a little bit more into Bitcoin at least, from now until the end of the year. And yeah, it's very interesting what you say that you expect a mini pump and then a bear market.
Mm,
Because for instance, Carter expects it to go on with a longer pump until like June and then a bear market, for
yeah.
instance. So
May-
yeah,
Maybe take my thought into consideration. What I said. If people think it will pump till the end of June, his honest opinion might be February, but he wants everyone to believe that it's June, so he has more room for growth. But this is just a concept I'm having right now because I do see a lot of influencers
hmm,
talk basically not the truth, and yeah, I think they want to manipulate the market in some ways.
okay, yeah. It's crypto. Like I need, people are adversarial, so that could
Mm,
definitely happen. Okay, so yeah, that's very interesting, Patrick. I may need to adjust my allocation, but what I personally think is that I actually want to get more Bitcoin short term at least up until the end of
mm.
the year, and then maybe
But from where?
reallocate.
What do you want to sell?
Solana,
Oh, no.
yeah,
Wow.
because I think Solana they had a conference already, and during the conference the price didn't go up at all. It was like buy the rumor, sell the news event. And
Mm,
what I saw from Phantom, for instance, after the conference, the price dropped all again. Like the hype deflated a little bit. So I
mm,
think maybe short term, although this goes also into the portfolio section later on. But I'm thinking of still staying on the Solana chain. Don't get me wrong, but swapping some more into Bitcoin. And also in general, I
mm,
feel like we're entering pretty chaotic times right now. So I kind of feel like I need more, more insurance, especially as my position in ILB becomes even more degen. So
mm,
I feel like I need more safety right now.
mm. Yeah, your your portfolio is super interesting. You have this mother of all coins, Bitcoin, like how much percent? 40 or so? Or
Yeah, I think it's roughly like that.
yeah, and then you have the one of the most possible degen stuff, the Illuvium stuff,
Yeah,
which is almost 40% as well. So you are really weird setup. I never heard about this actually.
yeah, yeah. You're right. It's not exactly you know, diversified portfolio, I would definitely agree with this. But yeah, I feel comfortable with it for now. And also,
Yeah, that's the
my
main
ETH
point.
position has gone up, because I bought ILV ETH pair, so it's not like my ETH
Mm,
isn't going up as well.
yeah.
So, and also my Solana is now up, so I own almost just layer ones and Illuvium. So I
Mm,
still think relatively it's kind of conservative in some aspects. I don't have a lot of DeFi tokens or anything like that. So just layer ones. So yeah,
yeah, interesting.
but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it's a terrible idea, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, for now it worked out quite nicely, I
Yeah, for
guess.
now it worked out nicely.
Yeah. Have you noticed anything remarkable last week on your part?
No, I think you mentioned most of the things. Uh, so yeah, the conference, etc., and also the
Mm,
Raoul Pal interview, I thought was really interesting.
mm.
Um, the only thing I'm gonna say one thing that I thought was remarkable this week that happened. Um, there was a replica of a U.S. battleship found in the Chinese desert, and
What?
yeah, so the Chinese built a replica of a warship, like a dummy warship, but
Hmm.
like a really close replica, and to practice on it, and for I guess for
Wow,
reconnaissance, these kind of things. So
that's
yeah,
kind of messed up.
yeah, it's kind of messed up for sure. So you know the things that are happening with Taiwan, right? That they're flying over there with fighters and stuff, and
Mm,
yeah, they're pretty aggressive lately. So I mean I don't expect anything to happen short term, but I think
mm,
just like in the next 3 years or something, yeah, we may have a little bit of a chaotic future, you know.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
hopefully
also I
not.
thought pretty remarkable about it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Never heard about it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I saw it on the news.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Did they try to explain why they built this replica? They could also build a Star Trek ship and practice there, right?
Well, I guess they want to test out how accurate their weapons are. Like let's say they want to pinpoint an exact cabin or something on the
Mm.
battleship or something. Like where the
Yeah, that makes it even worse because they are building a replica of a US ship, and then they want to make it more
yeah, yes,
nuanced.
yeah. I think they're testing their weapon capabilities. That's my view, but who knows?
Mm. Interesting.
But yeah,
Okie dokie.
yeah. For that, let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah, are there any things that you're excited about in the upcoming week?
Um, yeah, yeah. Like I said, I'm a little bit more reserved in general.
Mm.
Um, I think. Oh yeah, another thing that's pretty exciting, but it's not crypto related, is that there's a new World of Warcraft game coming out. I think
New
next
World
week.
of Warcraft?
Well, it's not a game, but like it's something called World of Warcraft Classic Season of Mastery. So it's basically vanilla. They had it. I don't know if you noticed it, but like last year or something, they had vanilla again, right? World of Warcraft
Yeah,
vanilla,
yeah, I heard about it, yeah.
and now they're doing it again, but then with different flavors. Like they're gonna buff some things, nerf some things, and change some things. So yeah, I'm
Wow.
I'm pretty excited about that, but I'm not gonna play it because yeah, the opportunity cost is just too high. But I'm just
Uh,
definitely gonna follow what's happening.
is,
And
is it like a hard mode, a super, super hard mode, or is it a different?
no, they added the hardcore mode, by the way. So you get if you manage to get to 60 without dying, you get a special like vanity buff, like that everyone can see that you are special.
Ah,
But they're adding, like, for instance, they're making the leveling faster, but they're making the bosses a lot harder, and they are removing. I don't know if you know, it was world buffs, like when you had to go to a Stormwind to get a buff. I'm not sure if you remember this
yeah,
already, but
yeah, yeah,
like
I remember, yeah.
yeah, this was really annoying when we started playing it because people are very hardcore nowadays, gamers. So
Mm.
every hour you would go back to the city to wait for the bell to be rung for
Yeah,
the
the
world buff.
Onyxia buff and stuff like
Yeah,
this, right?
exactly, the Onyxie buff. So people hated that because yeah, this is just because after you have it, you log out for the rest of the week until you have the raid time,
Mm.
basically, because otherwise the buff starts sticking. So people hated it, so they removed that one. And they're
Hmm.
making the games a lot harder, so they're adding new mechanics to multi-core and stuff to make it harder and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, but I'm just gonna watch it. But that I'm excited about. And another thing I'm excited about, and that was with that one of the things I heard in the 3 hour dev interview with Illuvium, is that their studio right now is about 150 people, but they want to grow it to 1,000 people. They want to have
Wow.
multiple games, and they want to have a movie and a Netflix series. So
Wow.
so yeah, they're really ambitious on it.
Do they give time frames on when this will happen, or do they just say we want it?
No, they didn't give time frames, but yeah, I'm assuming this they've already went from like 3 people to 150 in less than a year. So I
Hmm.
think to 1,000 they could have it probably within 5 years, I would say.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was just interesting. And for the rest, I don't
Hmm.
have anything yet.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, the Illuvium stuff they play really the long game.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple of points which excite me. The first one is have you heard about the spot ETF approval on upcoming Monday?
Spot ETF approval
Yeah, there is a rumor that there is a spot ETF going on right now.
for
Let
Bitcoin
me,
in the US?
yeah, for Bitcoin US,
Wow.
there is a high likelihood that it will get rejected. Um, let's see for a second. It's from BlockFi. So BlockFi, no, it's from VanEck.
hmm
VanEck Spot Bitcoin ETF. It's called, and there will be a decision on Monday. And as I mentioned last time, I'm following this guy, Dr. Julian Hosp from
Yeah, yeah.
Cake DeFi, and he makes his updates multiple times a week, and he talked about how could we get to 100K till the end of the year, because I don't see any catalyst. There are some minor things, but I'm thinking about this question a lot. I think we could reach the 100K if there is real high leverage because retail is not picking up. You can take a look at the on-chain stuff, and so retail is coming in slowly, but they are not a big buyers. So I think that if the ETF gets approved, the spot ETF, high likelihood that we will go to 100K. If it gets declined and the reasoning is quite let's say reasonable, I think we could go slowly up till the end of the year. And if it gets denied and the reasons are totally fucked up, like let's say for example, no, we don't like it. There won't be in the spot ETF within the next couple of years because it's too risky. Then there might be quite a high setback. So I think Monday, the 14th of November, could be super interesting. So this is something I'm looking forward, which gets me excited. Um,
Okay.
do you have any comments on this?
No, I'm just I'm amazed at how much I'm out of the loop that I didn't even catch this, that
Yeah.
this is coming. So this is a really bad sign on my part. And but I don't think they will say that, yeah, it's not coming and it's not coming for the next years. I don't think Gensler will say something like this. But
Mm.
yeah, we'll see how it happens. But yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah, fingers crossed that this will happen. But no, maybe not fingers crossed because I've been into crypto for a couple of years by
hmm
now, and I honestly think it would be best if they decline it and say, okay, nice, okay, guys, nice try, but let's improve there a little bit. Let's improve there a little bit. So they
hmm
decline it, but they make hope that it will come one day, because I think if it would get approved by now, the euphoria will peak. We will have our end of year rally. We will peak at let's say 100K, but there's no chance I think that we will go to 200K
Yeah.
because the market will heat up too quick and then it will crash. So I think it would be best if we just go slowly from here. And what is this phrase like? If you wanna go fast, go alone. If you wanna go far, um, go with friends or something along those lines.
hmm
So take your time. And the longer I'm into crypto, the more I hope that there is no euphoria, because euphoria is really a sin, I guess, within crypto. So just my 2 cents about this. I hope this will get declined, but with some hope for some future stuff.
Yeah. One more thing I would like to add is that Raoul Pal in this interview, he mentioned that he expects a spot BTC ETF next year in the first half of the year, and
Hmm.
also an Ethereum ETF.
Oh, this would be nice.
But so yeah, he's expecting next year. To be honest, I don't expect this year to have a spot ETF.
Yeah.
But even if there is a spot ETF, I'm not sure if it's gonna really pump the price to 100K or something like. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super excited about it by a spot ETF, But we'll see. I think if institutions, if they want to enter, they can already enter right now. There's already plenty of opportunities but they're of course less efficient vehicles. But you know what I mean,
Mm.
right? I'm not
Yeah.
sure that this is necessarily a huge catalyst.
Mm. Yeah. I'm not educated enough to speak about this, but one thing I'm educated enough is if there is a future ETF for Ethereum, my ETH will be happy.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, Ethereum is by far my biggest holding, by far.
Hmm.
It's so weird. I started out with an equivalent of 50-50 BTC and Ethereum, and now it's like 4-1 or so. And yeah, Ethereum, I love you guys and girls.
Yeah,
Okay, there are three more things I'm excited about this week, but I will rush through them quite quickly, and then you can decide if you want to talk about one of those three things. Okay?
sure.
So the first thing that gets me a little bit more excited is, so I mentioned that I listened to about 17 hours of the Solana day 2 and 3, and I particularly listened about how can Solana be the jumpstart for 100 million users. I mentioned it last time when we spoke on our last episode, because Ethereum, I think there is a steady incline from, let's say, a million to 1.2 million, 1.4 million. But I'm thinking more and more about how can we get 100 million users, more like a step function, not like a, what is it called?
Linear function.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I think Ethereum will do linear function, but Solana could do the step function. And I'm super excited about the gaming stuff, metaverse stuff, and social media stuff in particular. I'm not sure. Have you noticed that Raj, so one of the co-founders of Solana, he got banned from Twitter for a couple of hours?
No, no, I didn't.
And
What comments did he make?
yeah, this was super interesting. So he is friends with one of his guys on Twitter, and Raj basically tweeted GM, so good morning. Then his friend basically said, "Stop this shit. We need to get rid of it." Basically, and then he wrote, "I will kill you." And
What?
this triggered an automation from Twitter, where his Twitter account got suspended on the first day of the Solana breakpoint. And yeah, then this whole conversation started on stage. He told about it, and he said, "Guys, we need to make this decentralized." And then he had this conversation with one of the co-founders of Reddit, and Reddit has about 500 million users, and they want to make a Solana what is it called? Link between Solana and Reddit. So I think the social media space could take off within the next couple of months and years. Um,
Okay, so when you said I will kill you, I thought he meant it at his friend, but you're saying
no, he,
he means it in like he's gonna kill the Twitter platform because he's gonna build his own
no,
decentralized one.
sorry. He wrote to his friend.
Okay, and he meant it in terms of he's gonna kill the Twitter platform, right? Not he's gonna kill his friend.
He meant he killed his friend,
Oh, I think
but
that's
it
a
was a
really
joke.
well. I think it's still like a really weird
Yeah, it's absolutely
comment
great.
to
And
say. Like a really weird. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't like this.
yeah, I don't like his attitude 1%. I absolutely don't like it. And he tried to justify it because he said, okay, I know this guy for 15 years and he lent me money, I lent him money, we know us pretty good, but it's just not really what is it called an attitude which you expect from a CEO of such a company.
Yeah, that makes the fact that he knows him for a long time and he says it, that kind of makes me even more bearish, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think with good friends, yeah, I don't know. Like, I know that you can do it in jest, but you don't do it on the first day of your conference
Mm.
on a public platform like Twitter. You know, you can do it in DMs. You can say all these things.
But
So
then,
yeah.
Mark, honestly, but then the game theory begins because I was
Hmm.
thinking about it. Why did he do it? And let's imagine, so he's in tech for, let's say, 10 years or so by now.
Yeah.
And let's imagine that some people before him got suspended for such similar behavior, right? They
Yeah.
wrote, I will kill you, I like guns and stuff like this, and I eat babies. And he let's say he knew it, and he did it on the first day of the Solana um, meeting. So he knew that he had the discussion with one of the co-founders of Reddit within the next 24 hours. How much marketing could you've gotten in any other else way than doing it like this? So he got suspended
Hmm.
basically on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It is a brilliant marketing move if he did it on purpose. But I feel like it's more likely that it's just emotional, like a lack of emotional intelligence on his part. Like maybe he was very stressed, of course, because you have a big event coming up and you have so many things to do, so many things happening. So I think it's more likely that the stress of the event got to him rather than that this is some kind of
Mm,
genius brain move from him. But
mm.
yeah, it would be a brilliant move. I agree with you because any publicity is good publicity, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah, I still think it's more likely that it's lack of emotional intelligence.
yeah. It's like basically always in life there is a gray. It's not just black and white, but
Mm,
there are some comparison you can make between the GME stuff when they suspended the GME stuff, and this is basically something along those this playbook.
yeah.
Okay, I do have two other topics. The next one is yeah, I would like to become a yield farming pro, which excites me because I did a lot of airdrop hunting with the last couple of months, and I think I'm pretty much done with it. I would like to focus on more legit stuff and become better at yield farming. And there is just one last thing that gets me excited. So there is this protocol which is called Aprico Finance, and they're basically a borrowing and lending protocol combined with leverage yield farming. So they have no real competitor right now. There is Frankium, which does something similar, but they are quite smaller. And Aprico is having their IDO within the next couple of days, I think on the 18th of November. And so I'm looking to get into this IDO, but I need to do a little bit more research. So this is another thing which got me excited because I see this leverage yield farming. I think this is a super nice use case. And I don't see anyone who's doing it in a legit way. Uh, Maybe because I'm lacking the knowledge about the yield farming stuff. I see this on Phantom, on Tarot, and I see this on Frankium, on Solana, and on Aprico on Solana, but not many other places. Do you have any comment about those two things?
Um, yeah, I think it, I think the leverage yield farming. I think it started on Ethereum. The protocol is not that popular. So in general, I think leverage yield farming protocols they don't seem to be super popular because the way to make a leverage yield farm is basically you need to have both sides of the mix. Like you need to have lenders. For instance, on Tarot, that's what I know well. I like to be a lender, so I get just paid in pure yield, but it's still relatively low yield. Like 20%,
Mm,
maybe 40% or something. And then on the other side of me, he takes my coins and then he leverages them to leverage yield farm with. So I feel like this kind of protocols they are very dependent on the liquidity from the lender side.
mm,
And if the APR drops too low on the lender side, you get like a self-fulfilling prophecy that lenders start lending less, and then leverage yield farming yields get reduced, and then the cycle kind of repeats. So I think they are interesting, but personally I like them more from the other side, from the lender side, because I don't really like leverage personally. But I think it can be super lucrative if you're really knowledgeable about the price expectations of two tokens compared to each other. Like, yeah, I think
mm,
it's definitely lucrative, and like people like cryptoyield.info, they are in Tarot. So I think the real yield farming pros, they are definitely doing leverage yield farming. But for me, it is a little bit, yeah, too risky right now. And yeah, so in general, I think the protocols can be good, but they need some kind of hype to keep the lenders lending. And if that fades, then the protocol just fades out. So yeah,
mm.
you need some kind of interesting mechanic to keep it going.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Have you ever experienced that you couldn't get your lend out tokens back because there were basically not enough. I'm blanking on the right name right now, but there is this concept that you sometimes can't get your tokens back if you lend them out.
No, I haven't run into this concept yet.
Mm. Yeah, me neither. But I know this guy from YouTube, Wales friend. Uh, he's gotten into this problem quite a lot of times, and yeah.
But did he
So
put in a significant size position?
yeah, like multiple 100K
And was he on the lender side or on the leverage yield farm side?
lender side.
On the lender side. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think it's probably because he put in a huge position.
Yeah, but even then, I remember the exact example. So he landed out this token, which was worth about a buck or so per token, and he put in like 60K or so, and he was just able to withdraw one or two or three, and he made a joke out of it. So he was basically
Hmm.
like, five? No, 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 no five. Four? No, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no four. Three? Ah, I can get three. So yeah, it was like super restricted. Let's say $1 to $2 because it was basically all land out.
Okay. Yeah, you have to pay attention to the utilization percentage
Yeah,
as well, when you lend out.
yeah, absolutely. Because it would be super bad if you want to sell and you can't do it because it's land out and you're just sitting there and want to sell and there's no way you can do it even if you want to because you're doing the in quotes simple and safe landing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, okay. Do you want to talk about our portfolio challenge?
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about it.
Okay, do you want to go first? How did your
Yeah, sure.
week went till the last Friday when we started with 5 Sol?
Well, yeah. So I'm not sure if you recall, but what I did is I had my 5 sol and then I deposited a little bit in port and then I borrowed some BTC against it. And then I put the remaining, I swapped also some to M-Sol, like marinate sol. And
Mm,
I entered the Aldrin pair of M-Sol BTC. I think it was like 100% APR or something at the time. But of course, I don't get the full APR because I'm part of my soul is lent out to port, so I'm borrowing less. So it's only maybe like 60% or something that was in the end
mm,
in the pair. And yeah, last time I said that I was afraid of getting wrecked because I couldn't claim my harvest rewards.
mm.
And now we're 1 week later, and I still can't claim my harvest rewards.
Oh, damn.
So they're still
Why?
yeah. So I've been reading a little bit on it, and I think there's multiple reasons. One of the reasons is that the Aldrin protocol they had a pretty good they set up a pretty good, how do you call it, they set up a stand and stuff, on the Solana the conference. So I think that
Mm,
most of the developers were there, but they were checking the code and stuff, and they made some fixes, but then they sent it to the auditors. And I think probably like last Friday, last Friday I put it in, and then I think probably like Sunday or early this week, maybe Monday, they finished the code and they sent it to the auditors. But now the auditors are still, auditors, they're pretty slow. So it is still
mm,
in audit, and they don't want to update the contract without having the audit done first. So
mm. Yeah, makes sense.
I think it's actually although I don't like it, I think they actually did the right thing because they went to the Solana conference and they made it their own stand and they put some effort into goodies and all these kind of things to really get their name out there. So they really promoted themselves, and I think people wouldn't do that if they were going to rug pull you. First of all, and
Mm,
second of all, they said that for second of all, you could pull your liquidity out at any time if you wanted to. So most people, most times you get this rug pull, you can't, you're locked in, But here it's
mm.
just the harvest rewards that are locked in. And the third factor was that they said that even if you pull your liquidity out, they will airdrop you the harvest rewards.
Ah.
So yeah, I feel like they're really committed, and yeah, so I'm more,
Mm,
I'm not afraid that I'm getting,
mm.
you know, they're pretty,
It's
yeah, they're,
Aldrin, right?
yeah, it's they're pretty mature basically in what they did
Mm,
in the end. So I kept my tokens in there. But yeah, my portfolio didn't go too well because I think I started with roughly $1,190, like 5 sol,
yeah.
and now it's 1100 or 1067. So it dropped by 10.26% in dollar terms.
Mm,
I did gain like I think like 12 or something bucks in interest on the but that I can't harvest yet. But
mm,
yeah, I think in general just I lost in total just I guess on the impermanent loss of the pair plus the Solana price dropped. So Yeah, my Solana is now a bit less than before. I get now 4.5 Solana left. So it
One
wasn't
and a
the best
half.
of week. Yeah,
You lost half a Solana.
I went from 5 to 4.5. Like into Solana terms. So I lost. Yeah, so I lost 10%. So basically, 5 to 4.5 is 10% loss, right?
Yeah, in US dollar terms, but in Solana terms,
Yeah, in Solana terms, I lost a little bit less, like 10.06 instead of 10.26.
oh, okay, interesting.
So how did
Yeah,
you do?
yeah. So my theory was like, okay, we will have a quite a small setback over the weekend, and then so I started with about 35% Solana, and then a little bit of ETH, BTC, and USDC. And my theory was basically, okay, there will be a dump over the weekend, and then I can buy back later to have a little bit head start. But this totally backfired. Not totally backfired. Um, the theory worked out, but I couldn't make it work. So I would like to share some learnings out of it, but I will give you first the results which I got out of it.
Sure.
So my US dollar value decreased from 1,190 bucks, like you mentioned, to 1,137 bucks. So it decreased quite a bit. And my soul value decreased. And this is where I think we have to catch up after recording this episode about our Solana value. My Solana value decreased from 5 Solana to 4.8 Solana. And I think we need to check our numbers later on because you have more USD value than me, but you said that you have more soul value. So let's just catch up. But in summary, my theory didn't work out so well. So I lost about, let's say 50 bucks and about 0.2 Solana. But I got some really nice learnings out of the last week, which I would like to share if you're interested in it right now.
Yeah, of course.
Mm. So I was reflecting on it, and the challenge. So the main goal of the challenge is to learn how to basically make money with money, and also how to make it enjoyable. And for me, it was really stressful to have this concept of trying to time the market, and this led me to a couple of things. But basically, I don't want to do those trades again. It just doesn't fit my lifestyle. You just you just have to sit in front of your PC. You have to think about it a lot. You have to think about it's now good time to buy and sell. Obviously, you can work with limit orders and stuff like this, but even then, you are just taking guesses. And yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It takes a lot of mind space. You need to think about okay, how will the market evolve, and it feels really really bad because let's say, for example, you have the hypothesis that okay, there is this CME futures gap, and there is a Solana conference, and so the prices might tank or jump. And I think I was pretty spot on that that the market took a dump, and the market took basically a dump. But the Solana price shot up a little bit, which was quite bad for my hypothesis. And I think I just underestimated the Solana conference, what catalysts could be. So I don't want to do this because you have to take a lot of assumptions, and if you're just missing one assumption, it's not worth it to do it for 5 Solana. Maybe if you do it for, let's say, 50,000 Solana, but not for 5. And the last learning I got out of it. So did I mention the last time that I played poker on a somewhat professional level?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a concept I got out of poker. So I played a lot of poker, online poker, really really much. And there is this concept or this phrase, when you don't know who is the fish on the table, you are the fish on the table. Have you ever heard about it?
I've heard of it, but not with fish. I've heard of it with something else.
Yeah, so the fish is basically the bad guy at the table who is
The noob.
who the noob who is the highest likelihood of losing money. And tables also evolve most of the times about a couple of fishes and then a couple of Rex. So Rex is regular, so the good guys,
Okay.
the well-informed guys. So I was just sitting there reflecting on it, and I was thinking like, damn, if I want to play this trading game, on what table am I sitting on, and who are my opponents? And then it just hit me. I'm the fish. I'm the total fish. So I won't do it. Uh, I've done super good in over the last couple of years, with one strength I have in regards to those traders, because traders they wanna maximize, they wanna catch the bottom and they wanna sell the top. And I think if I just stick to high conviction bets and I try to avoid all those mind games like, okay, it's now a good time to sell, to buy, what will the market do? It gets me more happiness for my life because it gives me more mental space to think about more important stuff like my family and so on. And it I, I I think there lies my edge. Just sticking to high conviction bets and learning how to put them more into use. Um, so for the last couple of years, I just bought basically Sol, BTC, and ETH, and I just hodled really hard onto it, and the prices increased, and I'm happy. But for now, I think I'm at a time in my crypto journey where I think it's most fitting for me to stick to high conviction bets and just learn how to get yield out of them. Use yield farms, use protocols, use lending and stuff like this. So this is a really big learning I got out of the last week. Even though the hypothesis was somehow right, I don't want to fit it within my life because it needs a different lifestyle, like more trading, more analysis, more uncertainty, more mental space, for example. And yeah, this is why I choose a different way this week. This week, and this is the punchline. What I will do this week, I will transition to high conviction bets. I already did this. I basically put all of my funds back into Solana, and a little bit of ETH, a little bit of BTC, but basically everything into Solana. And I will now try to use your awesome sheet and some other websites to learn, okay, how can I get a yield on my Solana without having too much exposure to other things? So I don't want to go into a degen yield farm, let's say, for example, like Solana Orca, and do it at 3x leverage, even though the APR might be nice. I would prefer to learn a little bit more about what could be a way to earn quite nice yield on, let's say, legit coins. And I'm pretty sure you have something about those legit coins in your spreadsheet as well, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, or what do you have in right there for now?
Well, I have basically a lot of pairs, but I made a little table with the top, like the top pairs in my view, and one of them is like the Solana altcoin pair. But you also have the Solana USDC pair, for instance, and also the
Mm-hmm.
Solana pair, and also pure Solana. So I think
Mm,
you could try the Solana pair, or you can try the pure Solana. And
mm,
yeah, I think the yields on those, they're not great, but you're getting extra yield on layer one, so you're still
mm,
outperforming hodlers of the
yeah,
layer one. And if you want to, take a little bit more risk, you can also try to, lend it out to port and then borrow something else against it, and then
mm,
it's a bit more complicated position, but you also have to manage the risk of the position, etc. That you don't get liquidated and these kind of things. So
yeah.
yeah, it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect because I'm trying to figure out how much active do I want to manage it or how passive do I
Hmm.
want to be. So over the last couple of years, I was super passive, like buying a coin and hoping it will go up. But the next thing which takes little effort is just putting into a lending protocol and just getting 5% yield, even though 5% doesn't sound that good. But just as a starting point to gain at least 5%. And if you then have more time and more mental capacity, you can think about putting it into, let's say, a stable coin like the MSOL Sol pair, where you can get 12%, and it's like 2 clicks more, but you
Hmm.
don't have to make 20 clicks every day to check um, your health factor, where you have to manage let's say a Solana Atlas pool, for example, with 3x leverage. So I
Yeah.
want to learn more about how to get yield on my assets, which could go up in price, but don't have much um, active management.
Yeah,
So this is
exactly.
the learning I got out of last week's, and this is my bet I would like to take this week, because even though my theory planned out quite nicely, I wasn't able to do it, and so I basically lost about 2.2 soul, which is kind of, yeah, bad.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, and so your plans for next week are to basically yield farm with your soul, right? So you change your allocations out of USDC because you had also some USDC, I think, in the
Yeah,
weekend,
exactly.
and you're just now full allocated to crypto layer ones, and you're just gonna yield farm with them, but
Yeah,
safe yield
exactly. So
farms.
yeah, exactly. So I basically put it all into Solana, a little bit of ETH, a little bit of BTC, because something along those lines you just mentioned, I think BTC could go up to the moon within the next couple of days. But if the ETF gets declined, then yeah, I will still go to Solana. But I will mainly stick to Solana, ETH, and BTC and make some nice yields out of some ledger deals farms out of it.
Okay. And
What's your plan, by the way? I haven't asked you, right?
yeah, correct. I haven't fully decided yet, but I'm thinking either to just continue my current position. So it is I'm fully in Solana, but then I lend it out and borrow BTC against it, and then I'm LPing with it. So this is one part that I think, and another part that I could be doing, but I just need to calculate the slippage cost and stuff, and I haven't done that. Is that I go like half Solana, half BTC, and put it in the Aldrin pair as well. So instead of having like a full Solana position and borrowing some BTC, I swap some of my Solana for BTC and then just go full in the farm. So these are the two
Mm,
things I'm considering. But I still need to check it out if it's worth it in terms of slippage, because I need to swap from Solana to BTC and then probably back again to Solana, etc. And
mm,
I don't want to pay too much fees, because if you see that I only made like $11 in yield last year or last
mm,
month, then or last week, sorry, then yeah, it's gonna eat up a lot of what I try to achieve with it.
mm. Have you taken into consideration that if you go into Solana BTC LP, that there might be some higher impermanent loss because obviously it might not go up like 180% like ICE, but have you thought about this?
Um, to be honest, I haven't thought about it enough, I guess. I mean, because I'm short-term bullish BTC, but I'm also kind of short-term bearish Solana, and I didn't realize that fact. So I think my
Mm,
apparent loss will actually be a little bit bigger than I expect it to
mm,
be. But yeah, I guess if BTC goes up, in my total position will still increase, but I will definitely get some permanent loss there.
mm.
But yeah, interesting what you say. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I was going for because you mentioned that the conference is gone and you see some bearishness and then you think BTC will go to 80K and
Hmm.
I was just trying to sniff out if you go into the same failure encodes like the ICE stuff because if if two assets go up in tandem, so both go
Yeah.
up, it's okay. But if one goes up and the other one goes down, you need pretty high APR to compensate for this. And I think the 85% on Aldrin, I'm not quite sure if they could compensate for this.
Yeah. It won't compensate, but I mean, I don't expect like even if Bitcoin goes to 80K and Solana drops 20%, I think the impermanent loss on that part is still not that high. It's like 10%
Mm,
or something, or maybe even a little bit more. But because like the ice one, it went 180%. That is
mm,
a totally dislocation compared to
mm,
I don't expect B2C to do that to do such a move whatsoever.
mm.
So I think the impermanent loss will still be quite modest. But you're right, it's definitely a good factor that I should think of. Maybe I should
Even
just swap my Solana for BTC outright and don't LP it or something, or
yeah,
LP with B2C, instead of with Solana.
yeah, I think this could make more sense. But let's say, and maybe we can wrap it up after this. For example, let's say you have an impairment loss of 10%, right?
Hmm.
And you have an APR of let's say 80%.
Yeah, it doesn't cover it.
It needs 3 months or so to compensate for it, right?
Yeah, it doesn't cover it even
Mm,
closely. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
I should watch out
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, you are the math guy. Maybe you can do some nice calculations, and our listeners and I and you maybe will learn something out of it. And yeah, I will start asking more specific yield farming questions because I want to become a yield farming pro.
Yeah, well,
uh, I just want to learn, and I think you can learn a lot as well, our listeners as well.
for sure.
And maybe one last thought, and then I will be done for today. You know Bankless, obviously, right?
Hmm.
Ryan and
Yeah.
David. And David said a couple of years ago, a couple of months ago, something super interesting, which stuck to me, and I would love to hear your opinion about it. So he basically said there is this transition which everyone goes in his crypto journey, and he says everyone, but I wouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people. So the first step is that you buy Bitcoin, and then you are happy because you think now I'm exposed to the crypto ecosystem. And after a while, you discover, oh man, there is more. There is Ethereum, there is Solana, there's stuff like this, and then you will go into buying more let's say, degen coins. And then there is this third evolution where you basically start experimenting with protocols. And so for me, I feel after 4 years, I'm now at a point where I want to use the protocols. Um, and I'm wondering, have you ever thought about this transition as well? And do you think there is a fourth step with which may comes afterwards?
Yeah. Um, I mean, for me, this decision happened, I guess, in less than less than a year instead of
Yeah,
4 years. But that's also because of Polygon. You know, it had really cheap gas fees, so you could
yeah,
really experiment with a lot of things. Um, yeah, I think actually the fourth step. Well, you could make a joke and say the fifth step will be to go to Dogecoin, but I think the fourth step will be to go back again to Bitcoin, and like to become like you learn that you can overstep your boundaries, and you start to appreciate the resilience of just Bitcoin and maybe also ETH. You know, so I think yeah, it's like the more you know about it, the more you know that the less you know or something, and then you go back
mm,
to safety. So I think after you discover the protocols and stuff, you try
interesting.
some of the DeFi tokens,
Really
you will
interesting.
see that they underperform BTC and ETH in general, and you will go back to the main chain a little bit more, like with a lot
Mhm.
more newly found respect. That's my expectation.
Oh, that's really interesting. I need to think about this. I think this makes a lot of sense what you just said.
Mhm. Yeah, this kind of cycle happens with a lot of things, not just with assets, but also just with philosophy in general.
Mm. Yeah, great. I need to think about this. Thanks.
Sure.
Okie dokie. Anything else, or do you want to wrap it up?
No, I think that was the perfect ending of the show.
Okie dokie. Guys and girls, just one quick announcement basically. Mark and I, we are at the process of launching our social media platforms. So we will start with Twitter in the next couple of days. Our YouTube platform is live. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And also, we would like to launch our Discord channel. So it's already set up. We are in the process right now of making all those links available within the show notes. And like always, yeah, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you prefer, and like and subscribe and stuff like this. We would love to hear from you. And yeah, Mark, let's leave it at this and let's see you later, okay?
See you next week.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.